If you're feeling lost or overwhelmed, remember that resilience and determination hold the power to change everything. The journey of Terry never giving up. Terry, a young boy born and raised in a poor rural village, lived a life defined by hardship. His family resided in a cramped, run-down house with rusted tin roofing, cracked mud walls, and no valuable belongings except for an old fan and a shaky wooden table. His parents, humble farmers, toiled endlessly in the fields from dawn until dusk, struggling to put food on the table. Terry wasn't a child prone to daydreaming. He understood the deep roots of poverty in the place he was born and raised, but he couldn't accept it. Every time he saw his father's calloused hands and his mother's weary face, he would tell himself, "I will do something to lift my family out of poverty." The early days of relentless effort. From the age of 12, Terry began working to help his family. After school, he would assist his parents in the fields, pulling weeds and carrying water to irrigate the crops. In the evenings, he took on various odd jobs, cleaning tables at a local eatery, guarding a stall at the night market, and more. Each job paid him only a few coins, but he never refused. Terry endured long, grueling days where sleep became a luxury. There were mornings when he woke up at 4 a.m. to deliver newspapers, navigating dark alleys while the village was still fast asleep. His small feet often blistered from walking miles delivering goods, and his hands trembled from the cold during winter mornings. But quitting never crossed his mind. One day while working, Terry overheard a customer talking about the dream of getting rich. The man said, "If you want to change your life, you need to think big and take action. Poverty isn't about circumstances, it's about being too scared to step out of them." The words planted a seed in Terry's mind. From that moment on, he vowed to think bigger and act braver. A first taste of business. At the age of 17, Terry realized that doing odd jobs alone would never lead to his goals. One day, while delivering goods, he saw a large appliance store with a sign recruiting sales staff. Despite having no experience, he boldly walked in and applied for the job. The store owner, a stern-looking, middle-aged man, eyed Terry skeptically. "What makes you think you can work here?" Terry took a deep breath and replied with confidence, "I don't have experience yet, but I have patience and determination. I can learn anything you require." The owner, perhaps moved by the sincerity in Terry's eyes, decided to give him a chance. Terry was hired as a sales trainee with a modest wage. The first few days at the store were full of challenges. Terry had to learn how to talk to customers, memorize product details, and handle complaints. Everything was unfamiliar. There were moments he made mistakes, like dropping an expensive item and being harshly scolded by his boss. But instead of wallowing in frustration or quitting, he treated each mistake as a lesson. Terry spent his free time studying the products and practicing his sales pitch with friends to improve his skills. Over time, Terry not only became the store's best salesperson, but also earned the trust of the owner, who began entrusting him with more responsibilities, such as inventory management and planning promotions. From the owner, Terry learned valuable lessons about running a business, lessons he never thought he'd have the chance to learn. The turning point, Terry's first food stand. Terry's parents grew increasingly proud of him, but Terry wasn't satisfied. He knew that no matter how skilled he became as an employee, he was still relying on others for his livelihood. That wasn't the life he wanted. One day, Terry used all the money he had saved from his job at the store to rent a small spot outside the local school. There, he set up a modest food stand, selling simple snacks like mixed rice paper, fried fish balls, and homemade milk tea. By day, Terry continued working at the store. By night, he prepared ingredients for his stand. Often, he worked until 2 or 3 a.m. to make everything ready. In the beginning, his stand attracted few customers, as no one knew about it. But Terry didn't give up. He came up with creative ways to promote his stand, from distributing flyers and offering discounts to inviting friends to try his food for free. His perseverance paid off. Customers began flocking to his stand, and word of mouth spread quickly. Within a year, Terry's earnings were enough to open a second stand, overcoming hardships and rising stronger. But success never comes without challenges. One night, Terry received devastating news. His first food stand had caught fire due to an electrical short circuit. Everything was destroyed, resulting in a loss of tens of millions of dong, a huge sum for him at the time. Terry sat by the charred remains, his head bowed in despair. But in that moment, the image of his parents flashed through his mind. He remembered his promise from years ago. I'm doing this not just for myself, but for my family. If I fall now, what will happen to them? Instead of giving up, Terry stood back up. He borrowed a small loan from acquaintances and started over. This time, he applied all the lessons he had learned. Not only did he rebuild his first stand, but he also expanded his operations, opening more food stands in bustling areas. Remarkable success in giving back. 5 years later, the boy who once delivered newspapers and sold street snacks had become the owner of a small but popular chain of fast food outlets across the town. Terry didn't just pull his family out of poverty, he also renovated their old house, bought modern appliances, and funded his younger sister's college education. Looking back, Terry realized one thing: success doesn't come from luck, but from relentless perseverance. He had once thought of poverty as a shackle, but he now understood that determination was the key to breaking free. When someone asked Terry what had helped him overcome so many challenges, he simply smiled and said, "I just never gave up."